for the final countdown. Tony Khan finally paid for the final countdown. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Okada tapped out. I'm John Recton with my review of AEW versus New Japan Forbidden Door 2023. Now that I've blown your eardrums out, let's talk about this pay-per-view. The best AEW pay-per-view of the year so far? Probably, even if there were issues that I had with it. Toronto was certainly on fire. And yeah, let's just get into it. There was a lot to dive into, a lot of notes, and a lot of things happen. For good, bad, and indifferent. But yes, the final... Okay, I'm done. I won't make that reference during this review. If you believe that, then you have not watched this channel before. If you're watching this channel for the first time, hi, thank you very much. So unfortunately, Filthy Tom Lawler had to take on Serpentico because Adam Cole, baby, had an Adam Cold, baby. I hope that he's alright. Apparently him and Britt were at a comic convention in Washington State. We are not a very good state here, admittedly, and these things happen. I hope that Adam Cole gets over his Adam Cold. Okay, I'm done. I'm trying to be serious here and all. Honestly, he has suffered a lot of medical issues, so I hope that he is going to be just fine. Do him versus Filthy Tom Lawler on television. Filthy Tom Lawler deserves, a big match on TV because he's been great in MMA, in New Japan. He's been killing it. It's great to see him at the New Japan Strong tapings with my friend Rox. Roxy, hope you're doing well. Anyway, so 0 Hour, hosted by Renee and RJ City. I have softened up on RJ City after that Sky Blue interview because she didn't come across all that great. I'm not saying I like the guy necessarily, but his wit may be, better suited for an interview program and not necessarily for a wrestling program, but nevertheless. So Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, and Excalibur are on commentary for this. Chris Charlton leaves commentary for the main show, and Taz joins. So we get Swerve, Bishop Khan, who looks great, by the way. Bishop Khan has a great look. Toa Leona and Brian Cage against the best friends. I just want to slap Justin Roberts every time he says that. And for existing. But anyway, we get Rocky Romero and El Desperado. This was the best they had for Despy, who's been one of the highlights of New Japan programming for the last 5 years, if not longer. Anyway, this was a match. It was fine. I don't care about the best friends, but you got to give the people what they want. Forever and ever. Anyway, we get a melee and Swerve collided with Cage, then we get a bit of an inadvertent stuff, and I'm like, Swerve's going to get pinned, Cage is going to get pinned. No, just the stomp, 1, 2, 3. Rocky Romero taking the pin once again. Why? I like Rocky. You could pin Taylor. Seriously, I think anybody could pin Taylor. I think a referee has pinned Taylor in a match. Anyway, nevertheless, that was the best they had for Despy. Athena then took on Billy Starks, who has gotten a lot of attention for her insane bumps and the fact she's only 18, had just recently graduated high school, was at a couple indie shows in this area, even like a year and a half ago. Took on Nick Wayne at one of them, and has taken on Nick Wayne at various indie shows. And speaking of Nick Wayne, he will be making his AEW television debut against Swerve, I think on July 12th. I think that's the date. So, how was this match? It was, look out for it, folks. It's an Owen Hart women's first round tournament match. Athena was healing it up. Billy Starks kept favoring her ribs. At one point, Billy said, I'm just going to crash on the apron to give people a memorable spot and to not want to walk by the age of 30. I don't know why she does that. Nevertheless, it was okay, I guess. I didn't really have anything against this. I didn't love it. And Athena won. So there we are. ELP took on Stu Grayson, who apparently is with, I think that's Vincent, the guy with the dreads. I don't know who the other guy is. I like El Phantasmo, the headbanger, who is one of my favorite wrestlers of last year. Like that matters. I'm just one fan. I don't know. I had a hard time really caring because Stu Grayson is a pretty good athlete, but the Dark Order stench just kind of hovers over him. And I guess apparently he left the Dark Order on Ring of Honor television, which I haven't had a chance to watch because there's only so many hours in the day. We get Thunder Kiss 86 for a 2 count. That splash off the top, but eventually CR2, 1, 2, 3. It was fine for what it was. LIJ member Shingo, Hiromu Takahashi, and Bushi, the man of 1,000 masks. Eat shit, Mil Mascaris. Rest in peace. Wait, is Mil Mascaris still alive? Wait, oh God, I feel really bad if I said that.
Anyway, against United Empire members Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and unfortunately TJP, who I understand wanted to greet Billy Starks and get close to her until he found out that she was 18. There you go. It was alright. Typical LIJ madness. Melee. Was what it was. Made in Japan pins TJP. There we are. So, package, Pyro, crowd is up. Taz joins commentary. Maxwell, Jacob Friedman against Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace versus the best. In my opinion, MJF is pretty much the best going today. Him, Danielson, 1 and 1A. Okada's in the mix. And AEW World Title match. I did like New Japan as an indie on MJF's robe. I like this match better than the one with Swerve because MJ, and nothing against Swerve, I just think that just didn't quite click as much as it should have. This clicked better. MJF had to bounce around a lot and really, slow it down because bless Tana, he can't move. I don't mean to harp on, he can't move. Shoulder breaker, MJF selling his knee, sometimes overselling, but maybe he's not overselling. Maybe he really hurt his knee. I mean, it's possible. But he does it with some of the big moves, and it makes sense because then Tana can come back with the dragon screw. Big superplex to a pop. Before that, the crowd did try to get Tanahashi going. He got the cloverleaf. He tried for the high fly flow. Knee stopped that, but unfortunately, oh no, MJF hurt his knee. And then we got a referee, inadvertent distraction, and MJF got the ring on, and boom! 1, 2, 3, and MJF retains. Tanahashi gets beat by a buck finish, and there we are. So, Dasha looks great, by the way. Looks absolutely great. TV don't do justice for how great she looks. The crowd booed Punk. To be fair, the Blue Jays, the Maple Leafs, haven't really done all that well in a while. I think the last time the Blue Jays won a World Series, I was 11 or 12. I think they did back-to-back in 92-93, or it was 91-92. I don't exactly remember. But nevertheless, Punk's going to get these kind of reactions. You know what? He was loving it. Punk took on Kojima in a look out again, folks. It's an Owen Hart first-round men's tournament match. Thank God these are only 8 people because, good goddamn Christ, if it was 16, this would take forever. They're booing Punk because he's a wrestler. He's not one of the joke, video game people that are the EVPs. Mainly the Bucks. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Like, there's blame on a lot of sides. There's no boss, really in AEW. It's just a lot like WCW where people are going out and doing their own thing. And even though they're doing big business, this pay-per-view is big business. This was a hell of a goddamn deal. Toronto really was on fire and a lot of people showed up. A lot of people showed up from surrounding areas too. You look at the history of Toronto wrestling, going back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, even into the 80s. A lot of people were showing up for big events in Toronto that were in the Toronto area. But nevertheless, Kojima, he still can move pretty goddamn well. And him and Punk crafted a nice little match here. I'm not going to say that it's one of my favorite of the year, but it rolled by pretty well. Punk was enjoying his heavy chops. Kojima, he was chopping him. Chop, Kojima, chop, Kojima, chop, Kojima. That was pretty good. The Hogan leg drop by Punk, he did the ear thing before. It's like, well, you guys cheered it before. WrestleMania 18. And then Kojima with the heavy chops. The elbow drop right to the nuts. CM nuts. CM nuts. Punk with a delayed elbow. He was up there on the top rope so long, I was convinced he was going to take out Elise. And then he got the vice on. And then the Mongolian chop. Stop trying to break down the city wall. God damn it, no, because Kojima intends on a legendary tag team in Japan. Mongolian chops. Mongolian chops. And the lariat, was countered because it's a big Kojima finisher. Pepsi sucks chance. You guys have milks and bags? Just saying. Just saying. At least some areas do. I don't know if all of Canada does. But eventually, GTS 1, 2, 3. I don't even really care for Pepsi, by the way. So yeah, Punk advances. He was enjoying the booze and gave Kojima his respect. And then a return to Chicago for All Out Week. Give Seattle a pay-per-view, and I guarantee you we will fucking show up. If they gave Seattle Full Gear, 1, I will be there with my friend Roxy. And 2, we will be having a whole lot of fun, and you probably could put that into in the Tacoma Dome, even though nobody likes Tacoma. Tacoma's a goddamn cesspool, but the Tacoma Dome is actually a cesspool, but it would be a loud atmosphere. What was a loud atmosphere, but was something that I decided no, was Shibata versus Zack Sabre Jr. Shibata, the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, Zack Sabre Jr., the New Japan TV Champion, Daniel Garcia in Magic Mike pants, and Orange Cassidy defending his AEW Internationalist Heavyweight Championship. It's a four-way with two wrestlers, a guy that might have meant something, and I don't care if people like Orange Cassidy. You can. I find the gimmick stale, a joke, bad for wrestling, and I will tell you exactly what I did during this. I was bopping in and out doing chores and taking care of stuff in and around the house because I am not going to give Orange Cassidy enough of my attention because he doesn't deserve it, because he's a joke, because the gimmick is bad for wrestling. He's not a bad person, it's a bad gimmick, and Orange Cassidy beat Garcia. And that was about 11 to 12 minutes that I saved doing some other stuff. And Zack Sabre Jr. and Shibata possibly won a shot. Unless Zack Sabre Jr. beats him in a minute, anytime anybody that works with Orange Cassidy, they don't come out better. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Sanada took on Jack Perry. Jack Perry is more heelish here. Hook was in his corner, and Doki Doki Morning was in Sanada's corner. His IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Red Shoes was the referee. I like Red Shoes. So, Red Shoes got wild cheers, Sanada got some cheers, and Jack Perry didn't get shit. Sanada stepping it up. When Sanada's motivated, he's dangerous, and it's good to see. Sometimes he's not. He has been more motivated lately, especially since he's the top guy, has the top championship. Sanada gave Jack a lot. Jack Perry isn't bad in the ring. I just don't think he's going to get any better. He hasn't really reached that next level, and I don't know if he ever will, because it's been 4 fucking years. So, stopping with the Poison Rana, skull end counters and all that. Another Poison Rana, oh boy. And then we got a moonsault, 1, 2, 3, and it was quick. I'm not surprised Sanada won. Jack Perry had no business really being in this match. But there we are. And Jack Perry, I said, was going to turn on Hook soon, or they're on the stage. Alright? And they're going to feud over a championship that really doesn't fucking matter. You fucked up, Chanson. They're chanting Taz. Why? You expect Taz to help out his son? I mean, he's not going to stick his neck out. Oh. But anyway, I mean, nevertheless, I think that they believe that this feud will actually mean something. I mean, I'm willing to give it a chance. And a heel Jack Perry, let's be honest, he's been getting, outside of his song, has not been getting the best reactions since that cage match against Luchasaurus. Well, I mean, sort of, I guess, against Christian Cage, but it's been intermittent. It's been very up and down. So turning him heel is probably the right idea. Eddie Kingston got a pop, and Tomohiro Ishii got a big pop. The Elite have ruined Kansas for me. And Mox has New Japan theme. Everybody came out through the crowd. Okay, Mox, Claudio, and Yuta representing the Big Combat Club. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say BBC. Why would I say Big Black anyway? Shota Umino and Takeshita. Don Callis was also there. Not the only time we'll see Don Callis. They took on the Bucks, Hangman, Kingston, and Ishii. Referee Rick Knox, so they were better off not having a referee at all. I will say off the bat that I expected to hate this. I didn't really like this, but this wasn't as egregiously offensive as I expected it to be. They at least tried wrestling at first, and then when the Bucks got in, it turned into move spamming from a video game, because that's all the Bucks can do. While I have enjoyed maybe 5% of the Bucks matches in the last 5 or so years, they can't wrestle. They can't. They have to just do their shit, and for those that like it, great. If you're like me, I know I'm like me, you're not going to like it, because it's the same shit. They pop for Kingston and Mox, chops. I actually had to leave the room for a bit to take care of something. I came back after the chops and the spot fest. Came back 5 minutes later, they were still chopping each other. This, I think, went 15, maybe 17 minutes, and Rick Knox is a terrible referee. Probably not a terrible person, but a terrible referee. Eddie was, conflicted about Mox. Why did you take the match then? This wouldn't end is what I wrote down. We got a superplex spot. There were some good moves here, but it was everything, everywhere, all at once. Wait, that's something else. And then Brainbuster pins Yuta. And there was a sign that said Don Callis for Prime Minister. It was, you get sexual assault, you get sexual assault, and NDAs for all. If you know, you know. So, Willow Nightingale versus Toni Storm with the Outcast. If she had Ruby in her corner, it would have been fine. I'm going to say right now that slinky neck twat Saraya deserves every bit of ridicule that she gets. She defends her abusive boyfriend, has said many, many terrible things in the recent past. Because everybody can grow up. She's about 30 or 31, and she's still acting like a goddamn teenager. Nevertheless, AEW Women's Championship match. Willow is very strong and has good, has some good power. Toni has a good look, but Saraya getting blasted in the face by Willow. It's not the only time Saraya has been blasted in the face on camera. I feel bad about saying that, but maybe don't be a piece of shit. Then defend abusive pieces of shit, and then maybe you won't get made fun of. So anyway, the apron bump. Why? If that happened to Saraya, she'd be in traction. So next time, do it to Saraya. The referee kicks him out. And then the second rope moonsault misses. This wasn't awful. It just was typical. We get, the big old hip attack. Toni jamming her ass right in Willow's face. And then hits the DDT. Then an Indian Deathlock. I hadn't seen one of those broken out in a while, so that was nice. The referee gets out of position. Toni Storm rakes the eyes and then hits the Storm's arrow. 1, 2, 3. I'm not surprised Toni won, but there we are. And then we get to Will Ospreay with footage of Canadian protests in his entrance video. And then elevated. He is so elevated to the sky with 2 Big Vito clones as his security. The military-grade security that Don Callis had. Don Callis comes out with him, and Omega has his New Japan theme, which makes sense given not only is he IWGP US champion, but they're trying to build this whole thing. It's based off of the Wrestle Kingdom 17 match, which you may be surprised to hear in case you forgot about the review or in case you didn't see it. I enjoyed that match. Sure, they did pretty much everything, again, everywhere, all at once, but it was a hell of a goddamn spectacle. Now, it also did go a bit long at about 35 minutes, but it sort of made sense on that show because they shortened up enough of the matches there. Omega versus Ospreay, IWGP US Championship match. Let me say, 1, the crowd popping for the opening bell was nice. 2, they started out with wrestling and they were laying this shit in and taking it seriously. I didn't necessarily like the suplex trading. I didn't necessarily like, the no selling of the moves, but you're going to get that in a lot of stuff, so I was willing to overlook some of it. The referee ended up kicking Callis out because Callis interfered. Okay, more on that in a bit. The crowd was split. Omega was selling his ribs. There were a lot of bumps into the barricade. There was, some crazy stuff. At one point, Oscutter on the apron. I don't know why. Miki Motoy, whatever her name is, the nice young woman that was on, actually, I think she's around my age, but nevertheless, she looks great, on the commentary team along with, I didn't catch the other guy's name, but El Desperado was on commentary, selling those chops like she was feeling them. I could say something perverted, but I won't. Kenny was bleeding like crazy because of some of the bumps that were taken. And still a wanker chants at Will Ospreay. Follow through on your promise after they help your mom get a van, and then maybe that won't be a problem. And then later, he's bleeding because, step spot and all that. So both men are bleeding. Ospreay bled like crazy. There was a lot of blood in the ring. A lot. This was a lot of blood. The V-trigger on the barricade is what caused it. And I said, oh, good Lord, Ospreay is gushing. The trading suplexes didn't care for that. A crossface on a Canadian. The Oscutters are in the enclosed pool area, and the side elevator door is open. Yeah. June 25th, 2007. A day that'll live in infamy. Piece of shit, Chris Benoit. He deserves a burn in hell. Poison Rana. Why? Why do you do the Poison Rana? They were cooking here. They were doing some stuff. We went 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, they're doing a bit too much. 30 minutes. They're doing this. And then Callis comes back after the referee had kicked him out. The referee could have gone back out and said, no, you need to go. Had they shortened this part up and I'm gonna get to the end of the match and I'm gonna tell you how I think as a fan they could have done this better. So Callis tries to stop the knee. We get a long point where Callis is trying to dig in his pocket to get the screwdriver because it's getting caught in his pockets. Of course, Callis would fish around in his pockets and look like he's trying to do something he shouldn't be doing. He's kind of used to doing that, especially around the women. If you know, you know. Mr. Scarlet Fever himself. And we get a screwdriver to the head. And then the Stormbreaker. 1, 2, foot on the rope. Why? Why? More on that in a bit. Fuck you, Callis chants. Knee. One wing angel from Ospreay. And of course, Omega instantly kicks out. Whatever. But they were starting to lose me when Callis came back out. While I understand what they were trying to do, they went about it wrong. German for 2. Counters. A hidden blade. More so a second Stormbreaker. 1, 2, 3. So they did about 20 other moves when they could have just ended with the Stormbreaker and gotten that. They did way too much. They did way too much in the last little bit. And while I understand what they were trying to do, the last number of minutes took me out of it. It got to the point where it was too busy. So new champion, Will Ospreay regaining the IWGP US Championship. I imagine they'll probably have a rubber match at All In. So, I would like to tell you how they could have done this better. Callis gets kicked out. And before he leaves, Ospreay draws the referee. No, you can't kick him out. And Callis slips the screwdriver in the corner. Underneath, just underneath the ring or something. And maybe not in one of the pads, but just somewhere in the corner where he could have done that. And said, let me just say one more thing. Then Omega's trying to argue. And Callis says, it's in the corner. You go get it when you need to. I can't be here. And then they do all that stuff. They do it where the one wing angel, all that. They do all that stuff. And then Ospreay somehow manages to deck Kenny. Maybe the referee's out of position. And he stabs him with a screwdriver. And he hits a Stormbreaker. Now tell me that they couldn't have accomplished that without Callis coming back out, making the referee look like an idiot. And they would have been able to say, shit, even though Callis was there, he's had this plan set up. And god damn it, they got us. That would have been better. Or they just could have done something that made the referee look like an idiot, made the match go on too goddamn long. And while there were people that were into it, I'll admit that near fall where he got his foot on the rope after the stab in the head and the Stormbreaker, they got me, but it also said, well, what is he going to have to do next? Take a fucking ice sickle, a goddamn sickle, just take, one of those like in Die Hard 2 and jam it in the guy's eye, and Omega will still kick out at 2. I like my idea better, and I'm just a crazy fan. So then Suzuki, Jericho, and Sammy took on Darby, Joker, Sting, and Tetsuya Naito. Behold, the death slot! Sting can't move, and that was compounded by the fact that Sammy tried to do a cutter off the ropes while Sting, at 63 years old with spinal stenosis, had Jericho sort of in the Scorpion Deathlock. And god damn, Sting was rocked after that. I'm not saying that Sammy tried to injure Sting. I'm not. It was a stupid idea. All three heels do oppose. Suzuki looks like he's having a goddamn blast. And Sting was rocked. He's not okay. Sammy does a tumble through a table. But then Sting Invincible, fires back up. And then Naito rolls up and gets the victory 1, 2, 3. That's all I have to say. And then it's the final countdown. It's the American Dragon Forever. I don't have the voice to do the final countdown. And then Okada got a big pop. Rainmaker, American Dragon. This is all I'm going to say about this match because this has gone long. This is one of the best matches that I've seen in a while because why? It was wrestling. When they did the outside stuff, it made sense. It was well paced. They actually knew what the fuck they were doing. They didn't let it go. It went, 20-something minutes? And it felt like it flew by. It felt like 10 because it was wrestling. It was actual wrestling. And that was nice to see. Danielson kept focusing on the arm. Okada kept trying to fire back. There was some great near falls. Danielson was getting rocked. They did the fake thing where it's like, oh, he had done something where it looked like he was having the pins and needles and impossible, head trauma, which I know that Danielson is legit had. I was at the retirement episode of Raw in February 2016 that he did. I think it was February 2016, February or March. The whole point is, I was there. That was emotional. It was great to see him back. It was great to see him at the Dynamite early this year in Seattle. I'm so glad that Danielson is able to do what he loves. He has his money. He has his wife. He has his children. I believe they still have their dogs. The whole point is, the man is smart with his money. The man is smart with what he does. And the man wants... And the man's been getting paid handsomely by AEW. There's no way Khan isn't chipping him off at least $750,000 to $1 million a year. The whole point is he loves what he's doing. We got a sky elbow from Okada. Rainmaker pose. I'm not going to zoom out like that. And I'm not going to try to push my chair back there because I'll stumble over. And the doctor checking on that. I didn't really care for that. Well, Okada gave no sympathy. Yes, get the American Dragon. We love you, Okada. And then Danielson hitting multiple bukkake knees. No, they're not that. And then the Rainmaker for 2? That's rare. You don't see that very often. What you definitely don't see is the finish where Danielson has Okada's arm wrench. He's having his arm wrench back, and everything, and he can't get out of it, and Okada taps out. And I legit said, whoa, okay, when the hell was the last time Okada tapped out? Genuine question. I can't goddamn remember. I mean, I've only been rewatching New Japan for the last 5 or so years, and if he has tapped out in that 5 years, I don't remember. So please, somebody tell me. That was a hell of a goddamn finish, and is it the best AEW pay-per-view of the year? Probably. I mean, that's kind of faint praise, given what Double or Nothing was and what Revolution was, even though both had good to great moments. Not perfect, but it certainly had its good points. So, let me know your thoughts on Forbidden Door in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.